Hello there, YouTube. This is my cousin's current monitor. It's an Alienware, a rather old one because of these chunky bezels and rather small screen size. It's got DVI-D and HDMI. This is an Alienware OptX AW2310 from the year 2010. This one was manufactured in May of 2011. It's missing a few modern features like DisplayPort, a newer version of HDMI that can drive 120 hertz, because in order to get 120 hertz out of this monitor, which this was Alienware's or Dell's second monitor to do that refresh rate, you have to plug in a dual link DVI cable. Because if you try a single link DVI cable or HDMI, then you will not be able to get 120 hertz and a clear picture at the same time. But even to this day, it's still got pretty good refresh rate, pretty good motion clarity. 1920 by 1080 at 119.98 hertz. Another two things that date this monitor are the TN panel. It doesn't have very good viewing angles at all, particularly from up to down. And not only is this a rather old TN panel with not very good viewing angles, but all these vents up here means that this has a CCFL backlight, as this monitor gets rather toasty on top. And CCFLs are pretty old technology now, as LEDs replaced them not long after this monitor was made, actually. Given the way that I've talked about this Alienware monitor being rather old, that implies that I got something new, and you would be correct. Let's head over to the kitchen and see what I got. That's right. In case you couldn't tell from the title of this video, I bought another Alienware monitor. Well, it can be interpreted in two different contexts. It could be another as in my cousin's getting another Alienware monitor since he already has the AW2310. And it could also be interpreted as in this is the second Alienware monitor that I bought this year even, because some of you who may watch my channel regularly will know that I bought an Alienware AW3425DWM back in September. So this is basically the normal people version of my monitor. This is a model AW2725DM. The M, once again, meaning that this is mainstream, because there's a more premium AW2725D, which has an OLED screen, and I think a higher refresh rate as well. But this is the more mainstream version, which costs a more modest $190 as of when I bought this yesterday. And there's Bubba getting in my way. Here's the back of the box, 27 inches, IPS. Oh, come on, dude. Yes, it's a new Alienware monitor. Don't rub against me. IPS, which is nice because my ultrawide monitor uses a VA panel because it's curved. But since I didn't care about this being curved, nor would my cousin realistically, I went and got an IPS monitor because getting an IPS monitor, along with it being gaming, is no longer a premium feature. What else is no longer a premium feature is this cat getting in my way, but also QHD 1440p. This is a 2560 by 1440 resolution, so it's going to be a nice upgrade from 1080p for sure, even though my cousin has a GTX 1660 Super, which it's not exactly optimal for 1440p. But with the games he plays, which is mostly Minecraft, Fortnite, and Roblox, I'm sure the 1660 Super should be able to handle it just fine. So I mentioned a couple of features that are no longer premium, but what else is no longer premium is 180 hertz. That's typical for a high refresh rate monitor these days. And because this is IPS and not VA, it should have better motion clarity than the VA panel that I have. Gray to gray, 1 millisecond response time. That should be a more accurate reading than my VA panel. And DCI-P3, 95%. I guess that's just something to do with the color scale. And here's a few more features. Display HDR 400, VESA Adaptive Sync, AMD FreeSync, and here's something that my ultrawide doesyn't have, NVIDIA G-Sync. That will be pretty nice. This was manufactured in July of 2025, so I only ordered this 2.5 months after my AW3425DWM, and this monitor is 6 months newer than that in production. Anyway, my cousin's not home right now, so I'm gonna surprise him. I'm gonna open this and set it up while he's out and busy. And notice how I said surprise him. Well, that's because yesterday was his birthday, and I wanted to get him something nice for his birthday. I'd actually been meaning to get him something like this for a while now, but only this year have justified it. We've cut open the tape. Let's flip this open. Okay, so in the box we have the power cable, just a standard PC power cable. Don't really need another one, but it'd be a waste to not use the new power cable. Here's HDMI, which I believe is version 2.1. Here's some literature for the AW2725DM. Third one of these literature sheets I've seen this year. And here's the DisplayPort cable. I don't know if this is 1.4 spec or 2.x. Knowing these monitors, that's probably only DisplayPort 1.4, which is rather lame. Why can't you give us 2.1? And here's the cable for the USB hub. I will be plugging this in. That'll be a very nice feature. Some people don't like that the USB ports are on the bottom, but me personally, I actually prefer it because they're easier to reach than on the rear, at least with my setup. And here's the base. Aside from appropriately being smaller, it also has an NVIDIA G-Sync sticker, which my AW3425DWM did not have because that doesn't have G-Sync. Here's another literature pack. Does this have a sticker just like my AW3425DWM? Yes, it does. I bet my cousin will be happy to see that. I'm gonna remove this. Alright, here's the stand. 55X. Apparently X is a new letter that Dell put into their PPID codes, or DSNs. I've never seen an X before. I've only seen them go up to V, which is supposed to be 31 for the date. Okay, here's the base. I mean, no, this is the stand, and here's the base that it attaches to. We'll put that into place and screw it in. 552. So this base was manufactured on the 2nd of May this year. Also, I noticed that the stand says it's for the DM specifically. It might be compatible with the more premium OLED model, but who knows, really. And here's the monitor itself. I'm going to carefully remove it from the sleeve. Similar arrangement on the bottom, like my ultra-wide. 57C, so this was manufactured on the 12th of July this year. And here's the same blue as my ultra-wide. It's got the holographic Alienware logo, which does not light up. And because some people really get a hard-on from this, yeah. And now I'm going to attach the monitor to the base. Well, attach it to the stand. Oh. There we go. And now I'm going to move this over to the desk before the cat potentially knocks it over. Alright, out with the old and in with the new. You can see quite a decent size difference, the 27 inches. It's a good bit larger, which is nice because 23 inches is getting a little small these days. Adjust this downwards. It also has a bit more flexibility in its height adjustment. Gee, I wonder who's the idiot that bolted in this cable. We're going to have to use a new video cable anyway because this monitor only does HDMI and DisplayPort. It doesn't do DVI dual link. And no point in using adapters when we could just use the native input. Alright, I just did some basic research, and it turns out that the GTX 1660 Super's HDMI spec is 2.0B, which only does up to 1440p 165 Hz. So we don't want to be using HDMI for this. We want to be using DisplayPort, which even 1.4 can do 180 Hz at 1440p. So we'll be using the DisplayPort cable here. We'll also be plugging in the USB 3.0 cable here for the 2-port hub. Pretty sure it's 2 ports at least. Yes, it is. It's just the 2 towards the bottom edge. And last but certainly not least is the new power cable. These cables are not going a very far distance. They don't need to be as long as they are in this case, but hey, I'm not the only person who bought this monitor. There are probably people who have these cables going a way farther length than us over here. Yeah, I'm recording right now.
Okay. What are you recording?
What?
Why are you recording?
Making an unboxing video of this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're gonna have to organize these cables later.
Yeah.
Let's turn this on now. Well, there comes the light. There's the Alienware logo, which I believe only comes on with the first power-up.
Whoa.
Okay. There's the joystick. Please select English language. Oh, you can enable USB charging through the monitor. All right, I have to plug the keyboard back in. Everything is now plugged in, and we have a whole spaghetti mess of wires over there that we're going to deal with later. Well, let's turn on the computer. Get this stuff out of the way. put the Sweaty Gamer glass mouse pad on the desk. And the Sweaty Gamer mouse. I have no idea what mouse this is, but it's cheap. Also, I saw the Omen logo was pretty small, so this is already scaling to its 1440p resolution. Oh, that looks so much better.
Whoa. That's one massive screen.
Yep, it's already feeling like 1440p, although we gotta adjust that refresh rate because it's defaulting to 60 Hz. Why is it 225%? Let's go to advanced display, jump this up to 180 Hz, and this supports variable refresh rate from 50 Hz to 180. Bit
Whoa.
depth is 8 bit, but I think that's
Wow.
a DisplayPort 1.4 thing.
Chat.
Also, take a look at this.
Huh?
If you flick the joystick down here forward,
It has a built-in...
yes, it has 3 built-in crosshairs. Vision 1, Vision 2,
Oh, like
and
that.
Vision 3.
What in the world?
Yeah, so that'll be nice for like Fortnite and whatnot. Wallpaper Engine hasn't loaded yet, but if we take a look over here... Oh yeah, those viewing angles are so much better. Not just that, but the contrast is also a lot better too. Okay, I am currently in the process of testing Minecraft. We're not quite hitting 180 FPS constant, but we are getting very close. I made a little tunnel in this cave over here. Yeah, that is very high motion. Almost certainly looks better on this than it does on my AW3425DWM. There's some grass down here. I don't want to go back to that tunnel and blow it up. I want to see if our performance tanks. Alright, let's get some TNT. And also some flint and steel. Okay, we're going to press 3 here. My cousin plays modded Minecraft with Lunar Client. So a couple of things here are a bit different from what I'm used to. Like I have to press a number to change something into the inventory and not just scroll. Although middle clicking to take a new element works just fine. Which is something I only just found out you could do in modded Minecraft. Admittedly, I'm not the biggest Minecraft player out there. Yeah, we're still at a pretty much constant 170-ish FPS. Very close to native refresh rate, but not quite. And yes, I did place a frame cap to make sure it doesn't go past 180 FPS. Let's blow some stuff up. Okay, we're still at like 130-ish. Yeah, no, that didn't phase it in the slightest. Maybe building something and blowing it up is, well, not in this case building, but blowing up like the pre-made world. Maybe that's a more CPU bound thing, in which this HP Omen 25L has an i5-10400 and also 32 gigs of RAM. Not that the RAM should matter, but CPU probably does. Oh, there was a little stutter there. Does flint and steel just not tank performance like it used to in Minecraft, or have the computer I've played it on recently just been too good for that to be a thing? Maybe we gotta go to the overworld and maybe get out of the snowy area. Oh. Zooming over here kind of tanked our FPS. And also trying to get out of flying mode also tanked our FPS. How about we blow up some trees? $108. Still not really phasing it all that much. I guess even something a bit older like this 10400 is too powerful for TNT to phase it. Let me see what settings I have this on. FOV 91, video settings. Render distance, 32, 20, 32. Brightness is all the way up. Full screen resolution. Current, which is 2560 by 1440. We don't have VSync turned on. Max frame rate is 180. Quality, graphics, fast. Let's change that to fancy. Let's see what happens to our performance then. Okay, we're still at like 120. Will the TNT phase us then? At least there, not really. 96, 117. Oh, what happens if I try Fabulous? Oh, let's blow up some sheep, like we would in Golf with Your Friends. If there was any tanks in performance, then it was nothing that I could notice. Alright, let's change this back. Alright, I'm running out of storage on my phone, so I gotta end the video here. I hope y'all enjoyed the look at this Alienware AW2725DM monitor. I sure did. I sure hope my cousin's gonna be happy and enjoy this. That's about it for this video. I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out.